Hey, we're back.
Where were we?
Yeah. The next show we're going to be talking about is The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter.
Did you watch this one?
No.
Okay.
No. I was like, there's two kind of fantasy ones that I want to get to. I'm glad I didn't get to one of them.
I will say that this is an okay fantasy anime.
Okay.
I would probably rank it higher, but the one we previously talked about exists in the same season as it. Yeah. So this is kind of one of those situations where, like, the Avengers movie came out the same month as, like, some other slightly lower budget type movie came out, which not to say that it's bad.
Or it's like the Avengers came out the same weekend that Black Panther came out. And you're like, they're both Marvel, they're both really cool, but this one got everybody in
it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Now that's probably a pretty fair example of that, because it's like, you also, like, this one has the fantasy elements, it has ecchi in it and everything. It's just, it feels like it falls a little flat, only because, again, the other one exists. Had they not had this one come out the same month as the same season as the other one did, I probably would rate this a bit higher in my book. But, and again, it's not to say that this is bad.
What order did you watch it in? Did you watch this one first, then that one? Or
yes.
Okay.
I did.
So you're like, this is actually pretty cool. And you're like, no, that's actually garbage.
So, okay. The story from this one takes the main character, I remember, Nor? Yeah, Nor, who is the third son of an impoverished noble family. So, Nor, his personality is kind of meh. He when he's with his father, he tends to kind of treat his father badly. And that's just because they're an impoverished noble type family, so he endures a lot of hardships because of that, because even though he's noble, he's like low rank noble. So all the higher rank nobles tend to look down on him, even though he is a noble as well. He had been set on getting a job at a library with his childhood friend, who you see in the picture there, the one in the red and white. And then it ends up turning out that another noble family came through and snagged that job before he got a chance to get to it. So then he's left thinking, well, what the hell am I going to do? He has an ability, which seems interesting. It's basically, I forget what they called it, but it's like almost like he contacts Merlin of knowing all things, essentially, and can ask a singular question to him and get a 100% accurate answer to it. Doesn't mean he always understands the answer, but he'll at least know, he'll have the answer that he got. The problem is, using this ability, he gets massive headaches afterwards. Okay. So it almost becomes sort of a hindrance, and he doesn't necessarily like to use the ability because of that.
It's like when Asuna got that like land splitting technique. She's all like, and then she had a headache.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. He wants to gain more power, so he asks the ability of, where can I go to gain more power? And Merlin tells him about a dungeon that has been hidden away that no one knows about. So He goes to the dungeon wherein he meets a woman who has been essentially chained there for a very long period of time. And she can't, like, basically the chains themselves now are the only thing keeping her alive. So it's not like she can necessarily get removed from them, and whatnot. So she essentially is stuck. But what she says is that he explains his situation, and it's almost like one of those instances like when Slime met Veldra the dragon in the first season of Slime, where he kind of just wanted somebody to talk to because nobody had been there for a long period of time. Kind of the way she is as well, to a certain extent. Not like later on it becomes more of like she's just, well, anyways. Really, she just kind of wanted to talk with him because she hasn't had anyone to talk with. So over their discussion, and he kind of says what, his issues are. She says to him, well, I can not necessarily give, but kind of loan you my power. So that way, you can essentially gain more prestige, gain more wealth, gain more, be better, and everything. Which she readily agrees to, because that was the whole point of why he wanted to come to the dungeon, which is probably why Merlin told him, hey, come to this dungeon. The problem is that he finds out that she had been quite the wild child, I guess, essentially. And her abilities are very vast in that, you remember for like Slime how he was able to, once he ate the girl that he ended up turning into, that he used the form of, one of the things he gained was the ability to like modify and split and combine other abilities. So that's how he came up with Black Flame instead of Black Lightning, kind of thing.
Okay.
It's almost kind of the way he does things. He can slightly modify or, do certain things. Like, say, for instance, he needed to learn, like, physically, he could change his physical, how well he is with the sword, or whatever. But every time he uses this ability, essentially it costs points.
Okay.
And these points are accrued by essentially doing things like eating delicious meals or having one's kind of desires satiated, kind of thing. Being kind of, I don't say like gluttonous. What's the word? I don't know if the right word for it is. It's just being, at one point, I think, so as an example, his instructor in Hero School wanted to teach the whole class about a backstep skill, in which someone lunges forward and your reaction and your ability to lunge backwards is faster, and you're able to get into a better stance to be able to counter said person.
Okay.
Well, at first he was like, well, how many points would it take for me to be just physically better? Just all around physically better. And he was told way more points than he wanted to ever consider. So he was like, what if I just want to master this skill? Just this skill, just this one skill. And it was way less points. So he was like, shoot, do it. Let's do it. And he does it, and then he basically outshines his teacher, who then she had promised that I would, because she's very voluptuous, like most women, as you see in the picture there. So she's like, well, if you manage to outperform me, then I will give you something that all of men here would desire. Being very vague about it, but essentially it came to sitting on them. It was kind of weird, but his points did go up because it was a, he was like, he was like, I don't necessarily believe. He said afterwards, he was kind of like, I don't know why, but at least my points went up. Because he was very confused about it himself. He was like, I don't know why, but I'm okay with it because my points went up. So okay, cool. You know? Other things have been like, his childhood friend who he'll, how, childhood friends will, call each other or whatever, say hi or whatever. Well, they've now gotten into the ritual of giving a morning kiss.
Okay.
And again, it's just, and then his points go up, and then he can use them throughout the day or whatever. It's there. It seems to me like a fantasy that's trying to, how I've been saying, if you're gonna do something like something radical, something evil, something bad, something good, have reasons behind why you're doing it. Give the viewer something to go, oh, that's why you're doing it. Essentially, what this anime is trying to do is give reasons why we're trying to do ecchi things. And I'm like, okay, but it's like whenever he does the abilities that he does, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or he fights a monster or something, like, oh, that's cool. And then they're like, oh, well, now he needs to replenish his points, and I'm just sitting here going, all right, let's get it over with. What are you doing? Like, all right, can we fast forward? All right, cool. Back to
The
being
show.
back to the show. Yeah, essentially. I'm like, at least they're not doing it like all the time, but they're more or less being like, oh, he's low on points. He did these abilities. Now he needs to gain more points. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. So all around, I mean, it's not a bad anime because it does have a lot of the earmarks for good fantasy. Um, it talks about a different sword fighting monsters. Because he used one of his abilities, he was trying to gain, or one of his in order to gain access into the hero school, he had to come back and prove that he was worthy of doing it. So they each were given a task of hunting down and providing a piece that you've, taken out a monster or whatever. And he came back because he went through the dungeon and found like some sort of like reaper creature or whatever, and he ended up finding a way to actually kill it and came back with its skull, and all of a sudden everyone's like, you're not supposed to be able to kill that thing. How the hell did you? And he just basically passed it off to another, because they were in a party of 3, and he passed it off to a higher ranking noble saying, I didn't do it, she did it, I was holding it, it's not me, I didn't do anything. It has its moments. It's interesting, but at the same time, again, I just feel like they're just giving us excuses to do ecchi things. So, whatever.
They're like, but we need points. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Essentially, I'm just like, come on. Now, and I'll say, okay, to give itself credit, right now they just entered school. They're in class, and the thing is that he met a higher ranking noble, of course, a woman again. She's like almost just below, like her father's just below the king or something like that. Anyways, she has a curse on her where on her 16th birthday she will die. And he, because of an ability he was given because of this girl he met in the dungeon with all the other abilities, sees this and understands this. But he believes that she doesn't even know what's afflicting her, just that she has physical issues. And he wants to try to help her. And I'm like, okay, we're getting to maybe an interesting part here. Like, there's a curse. Who put the curse on? How are you going to get rid of it? What are you going to do? Because he's like, well, I can use my abilities. And then he asks, Merlin, he's like, well, how many points would I have to use in order to get rid of this curse effectively? And he's like, well, this many? And he's like, I don't have the ability to get that many points. Because I think Merlin told him if he was going to get those points, he would essentially have to line up all the women in his class and then basically go through and mass group all of them at the same time. And he was like, yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. No. Mm-mm. So, but again, at least as far as that goes, like, okay, they're getting to maybe something a little more serious. I don't know. Maybe they'll get away with, Not showing as much as far as that goes because it seems more of a distraction and more of just like a hey look we're kissing her, hey he's touching her butt or she's riding his sitting on him or whatever. I'm like all right whatever. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to know about it. I'd rather be done with it. But hey, at least the fantasy aspects of it are at least entertaining. So
Just come back when you already have the points. Like,
yeah, have the points already. We'll get back to it. It'll be fun. So yeah, no, that's pretty much as far as that one.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Shingeki no Kyojin, or Attack on Titan, the final season.
Now, have you been keeping like the entire up on this the entire way?
Yeah. Well, for like a while, I was missing a huge swaths of it, but then I caught up.
Okay. So I'm the only one who's lacking on this one. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So yeah, I only saw the first episode, and I am confused.
You know, this whole thing is a giant confusing mess of an anime. Okay, giant confusing, lovely, entertaining, great-looking mess of an anime.
Yeah.
I remember this because recently there was a reactor that I was watching who just started posting from the very first season of Attack on Titan on his channel. And one of the things he said was he's like, full disclosure, I've watched the first like 3 or 4 episodes of this already. Long time ago, back when it first came out. He's like, but I stopped watching it because I felt like it was going to be one of those that was going to have a lot of questions and not a whole lot. They weren't going to give you a whole lot of answers. And we're just going to string you along. He's like, but there's been so many people asking me to watch this. He's like, I've caved in and I'm going to watch it. And hopefully, because there are so many seasons out of it now, hopefully it doesn't go into the way that I'm thinking it's going to go into. And I'm sitting in the back going, nope, it's going to go exactly as you think, 110%. It's confusing as hell, give you a shit ton of questions and not a hell of a lot of answers. So buckle up.
Yeah. So the setting is completely we're somewhere else. I don't know where we are. I think we're close by.
Or somewhere.
But I'm not sure.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
And for a while, there was like no Titans, and there was a war going on, and they're like speaking in all these like terms that seem vague, but they're just like another word for people who can turn into Titans. So I'm like,
so did we to the past?
Huh?
We jump into the past?
Or the future? I don't know. Like, what's the blonde dude?
His friend?
Huh?
The main character's friend? Shoot, I can't remember his name.
No, not Armin.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. It was Armin. Yeah.
The other blonde. Where's the mouse? There it is. Okay. Let me pull up the show and the characters. I feel like his name starts with an R and it probably doesn't at all. Reiner.
Oh yeah, he was the captain, isn't he? Isn't he the captain? I thought he was the captain.
Then who am I thinking of then? No, I think it's Reiner. Reiner looks way older than he used to. So that's why I kind of think it's in the future. Or it's Reiner's dad. And we're still in the same time.
Okay, so very confusing. What else you got?
A battle happened, and then they're like, "See you next episode," and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Gotcha. Very confusing.
Where is everybody? So yeah, I'm confused, and I'm gonna wait 2 months, and then I'm gonna watch it all, and hopefully they answer questions.
Considering it's the final season, I hope they freaking answer questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna be the one going, "You suck."
But yeah, from what I saw, everybody's just as intense as always, and there was a battle going on. There's people freaking out, and titans from the sky.
From the sky.
Yeah, it was crazy, and then really big bullets, and more Attack on Titan.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, the show's still going. Hopefully y'all get it. I don't know what's going on. I probably need to watch like the last couple episodes because it seems like those episodes were leading to this, and I don't remember what they said back then, like what, a year ago. So yeah, I forgot everything. I'm confused. Yeah. Next show we're talking about is, I'm just gonna call it Last Dungeon.
Yeah, this was the supposed kid from the last dungeon came to a starter town or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch this one?
Yes.
Okay. This seems like somebody had a great deal of fun with the whole trope of like dungeons and stuff like that.
Yeah. The naive strong guy.
Yeah. Okay, so for those out there who don't know what we're talking about, so the basic premise of this, the basic starting of this is you can see a kid going into a town. He goes to see a witch who basically tells him to go away. What you end up finding out is that he got sent here from his town by his elder, who said that he had to go there in order to, or he wanted to become a soldier, is what it was. But he ends up coming to this town, and he thinks that he is the weakest person out there, only because he's comparing himself to everyone else, or himself to everyone else in his village. Not to say that he is or isn't, but the fact that he's just basically he is overpowered as hell. But that's because he's been in the last dungeon, he's grown up there, he's learned from them, he's done things with that, and it's like taking Superman from Krypton
exactly
and bringing him down to freaking Earth and being like, "You're a human, have fun." You know.
It's like taking the runt of the Kryptonian race and bringing them to Earth.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, but I can't even lift 3 buildings," and they're like, "Nobody here can lift a building."
Essentially. I don't know. To me, this is also kind of like middle of the road fantasy type, but the thing is that I get a kick out of it only because it's meant not to be taken seriously, and it doesn't take itself seriously, even at all, not even a little bit. He the freaking chief of his town that he came from apparently was the master to the witch, and she's the one who sent him to go see the witch to stay with him while he takes his test to become a soldier. And the problem, she ends up, because she calls her a lolly grandmother or something like that, and she takes offense to that. So what does she do? She freaking curses her with runic magic of small misfortunes. And apparently, this runic magic that we find out is so powerful that anyone who does it, like, essentially, if done improperly, could lead to the destruction of the planet. But she treats it like it's everyday magic. So.
And like
Yeah.
the misfortunes are like, it's like every time it happens, you're like, God dang it. And she's just banging on the table and then like lifts her arm and like pulls a thread off of her really nice robe. And I'm like, oh no.
So, I mean, again, this is what this whole thing's about, essentially. This whole freaking thing. And it's just absolutely hilarious because of that. It does not, even in the slightest bit, take itself seriously. And it's just absolutely hilarious because of that.
I got left on a cliffhanger, so I'm mad. Because I already know how strong he is. And they're like, all right, you're about to start the strength test. And next episode. And I'm like, no! He's gonna blow up the thing! Ah!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, this is just one of those you're just like looking at it going, what the hell am I even getting myself into? But I mean, it's not, it knows it's not being serious, and it doesn't take itself seriously. So for that, I kind of give it props, and I'm like, all right. So all in all, I mean, it's nothing necessarily to write home about. It's definitely no other isekai one that or the one isekai one we were talking about, but it's still not a bad anime. So
Oh yeah, you want to have a silly time? It's a show for you.
Here you go.
Yeah. Alright. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Slime Season 2.
Slime.
Man, I am terrified.
Of?
The trailer was like, everything's going wrong. And he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Why did I do it? And it hasn't happened yet. And I'm like, it's going to be bad.
I would agree. It's definitely one where I'm just sitting here going, okay, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going to happen? But we haven't gotten there yet. Like,
they're like, it's like things are getting better, and then things are getting even better, and then another awesome thing's just about to happen. And I'm like, but then something bad is going to happen. Really, really bad. And yeah,
I'm almost like at this point, I think I can't, because I get what you're saying, because it's almost like I can't even enjoy the happy-go-lucky silly moments that we have right now, and I'm almost just like willing it to just. I'm like, all right, come on, just let's get it happen. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. I know something's happening. Something's got to go down. Something's wrong. Something, whatever. Let's do it. So. See, this is why I don't watch like openings and stuff like that, because I get spoiled on them, and then I can't enjoy myself for whatever it is that I'm trying to do or look at or watch. So
yeah, I can't fully appreciate the cool things that are happening.
Yeah, because there's a lot of cool things that are happening.
Yeah, it was like, there's this one cool thing happening, and then I'm like, but who's that behind you? Like, how long you known them? Like,
Yeah.
are they new?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You're so paranoid now that something bad's going to happen that you can't enjoy yourself in these small little moments. So yeah, I mean, and again, for all those who have watched the series, if you watched the first season of Slime, I see no reason why you wouldn't be watching the second season, because you're just getting more of the same goodness that you had before. And then for those who haven't watched the series at all, what the hell are you doing? Go watch the series. I think, as we said from the first season, it is an amazing show. Um, and the only reason why I ranked, I'll go back to it, the Jobless one higher. I don't know what it's freaking called. Jobless Reincarnation. The only reason why I rank that one higher is because it's just a newer one. I mean, we've already experienced what we've experienced with Slime. Not to say that it's bad, because it's not, but it's just more of what we've already experienced. You know what I mean? If they had kicked it off like right from the get-go, going back into it with whatever catastrophes looming in the darkness for them to immediately start happening, I might rank Slime probably a little higher than Jobless Reincarnation. Only because I'm like, oh my god, we're already, like, we've spent so long with Rimuru and all them that, we're like, oh my god, they're so powerful, they're overpowered, there's nothing that can stop them. What the hell's gonna, what hell can stand in front of their way? Like, the only reason why I think in my mind, the only reason why they can't take out that demon lord that what's her name had the issue with from before is because they just haven't met him yet.
Yeah.
They haven't run into him. That's my only thought in my mind as far as that could be the case or could not be the case. I don't know, but the fact that that hasn't happened yet is why I give it that. But
and he like, if he sits at his desk and is like, oh, I have some more stuff, I have some good stuff in store for you, one more time, I'm gonna start getting mad.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I agree.
if everything that happened so far happened in the first episode, I would have been like, oh man, they about to unleash it on episode 2. But I'm like, we're 3 episodes in. And I'm like, all right, guys, you're already 25% of the way through, or what, or 12%, don't know. And I'm like, you told me that something bad was going to happen. And it needs to happen now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. I 100% agree. I'm like,
not that I want it to happen.
Yeah.
It's just you told me, and now I'm worried.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have concern over what the hell is happening and why. Yeah. No, I completely agree. But it's just like, we've had such a lull. Like, they keep hinting at things, like when he ended up giving that one girl that one spirit entered that one girl or whatever, and even the queen of the Fae was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the hell that was. That wasn't a freaking spirit.
I didn't even know that thing was here.
and Rimmer was like, well, you know what? We'll deal with it in the future. That's a for the future me problem to worry about. I don't have to worry about that now. And I'm like, are we there yet? Is it the future? Are we here? What's going on? So, yeah, there's just so many things that have been hinted at that the fact that we're not there yet, or the fact that it's been as long as it has and we're still sitting here waiting for it to happen, I can't. I'm just like, well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Well, I guess we'll just wait and see. I'm like, it's whatever. Well, now I'm like, remember, it's a for the future me problem. I don't have to worry about that yet, So, yeah, like I said, I would prefer if something's gonna pop off. God, let it pop off now. Let's just freaking get it over with. But if we had started off right smack dab in the action, and at least for like the first episode, and been like, this is intense, this is, oh my god, it's be like, And even if we went then, oh, 1 month earlier, this is what was going on, and we had these like, I'd be like, oh my god, I know what I'm waiting for. This is gonna be amazing. Da, 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 da. And I've been like, all right, cool. But we literally picked off right where the last one left off.
Yep.
And we're just continuing right along that way.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. I love Slime. He's amazing. Yep. But let's get to the action. let's jump ahead a little bit and get to where we need to be. That's all I'm saying.
All right. And it's so weird that we have not a lot to say about Slime. It's like they're just kind of same old right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. The next show we're gonna talk about is Uma Musume Pretty Nervy Season 2.
Oh boy.
I don't know why I love this show so much.
I don't know why you love this show so much either. That's a very good question.
I
question your decision on that on a daily basis.
I forgot.
What, the first season?
Well, no, I was like, oh yeah, that show with the horse girls. And then, so there's a lot of girls in the picture. But the one towards the center, but to the right, the dark hair with the brighter spots, she was the main character in the first series.
Okay.
Now, if you look, I guess, down to the two girls that are running, basically those are the main characters. And if you notice, the one on the right also has bright spots in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
When the series started, you're following her, who's the new protagonist, and she reminded me a lot of the old protagonist, and I forgot what the old protagonist looked like. So I was like, oh, it's her again. And it showed her when she was a kid, and she was admiring one of the pro racers, and I was like, oh, okay, they're doing a flashback of when she was a kid again. I don't know why they're doing that. It doesn't make sense, but okay. Eventually they'll cut to when she's older. And then they cut to when she's older, and I'm like, all right, this is when the story's going to take place. And then she's not doing anything. She's doing this, stuff in the same... Basically, it seemed like the series won all over again. And I'm like, why is she doing this again? She already did this. Until I realized that it wasn't her. And I was like, oh.
Oops.
That girl is now a senior. We're following a new girl who's now a freshman or whatever age group she's in. And she's the new star. And she's rising in the ranks. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she's doing some races. She's winning. Basically, they jump right into the hype finale stuff, where it's before you had the original girl. She starts. She wants to be the best, and she's a prodigy, and she has this hidden talent, and the coach can kind of see it. Some of the other people are like, hey, maybe. And she slowly starts winning. And then you get towards the end where it's oh my God, she won the first tournament. Maybe she can win the second one and be the 2-crown champion. And then win the third one to be the tri-crown, which is the thing that a lot of racers aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
We cut from her looking up to a senior, cut to her in the first championship race. Because they're oh, you already know how this works out. This is season 2. We don't need to go through all that. We're just going to jump right into the hype. So everybody's chanting her name and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know her, but hey.
Yeah, go her.
Yeah, she's going for the first, for the championship. And then she wins. And everybody's all like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And then.
God, it's mentality all over again.
Yeah, and then she starts they kind of just fast forward to her running in the second one, and like everybody's like, she's the new prodigy. There's already the one that she was looking up to. She was already a triple crown racer, so the the main character now already has one crown, and she's now racing for the second crown, and she wins, and everybody's like, yeah, the only double crown racer since the triple crown girl. So it's like all of this pressure is just built up within like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, this show is such a, yeah, it's in fifth gear already. I'm like, dude. So then they start cutting to like old cast members where I'm like, that's her. Special Week, that's her name. She kind of looks like the main character. Okay, I see why I was confused. And then they start showing some of the other characters, and I'm like, oh, that's the girl. What are those like? It has two. It's like a tall scooter, but it's like a Segway. There we go. One girl rides around on a Segway. I don't understand why, but she does, and she's wearing headphones, I think, or something. She's the oddball out of all the characters. So she's like always on a Segway for no reason. And I'm like, oddball. I guess you're resting your legs because you race. I don't understand. And then while the race is going on, she's there with a Rubik's Cube. And I'm like, what's she doing? Was she like this during the series? I don't remember. And yeah, so there's like, I'm like slowly starting to remember like the different characters. And then the race happens, and she's working her way up through the pack, and then she wins. And then in this show, after every race, there's a concert where the racers like do a little dance because the idols are popular in anime, so they got to put idols in this show. So basically, everybody who participates in the race also puts on a performance. And right after she wins, she kind of like looks down at her foot and like lifts up her heel, and it's like something's bothering her. And I'm like, oh no, she's the 2-crown racer, and now she's going for the 3rd crown, but something's wrong with her foot. I'm like, is she gonna tell anybody? Probably not. She's probably gonna try to push and just burn out trying to get that 3rd crown, so she could be like the second person to ever do that. And then they go to the concert, and they're doing the concert and everything, and like she does like one move, and like the coach notices that she's not moving right, and he's like, oh no. And then somebody else notices too, and they're like, oh no. And they're like, see you next episode. And I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like turning the hype up 5, like let's go. And I was sucked right in, like I didn't stop watching. So, yeah. I think this is one of those shows that there's a lot of lore and a lot of other media behind it, because even the background characters have names.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I could see this show being on trading cards or like other games where you're like, just there's a billion characters and everybody knows all of them. And like, my favorite was this one. She hasn't been in the main series yet, but in the second game of the 3rd series, she was the main character and blah, blah. I'm like, there's so much more to this IP. And I'm just like, I'm gonna stick with the anime and like Special Week and the other main girl and the girl on the Segway. And that's all I'm gonna remember. Yeah, it is like the one thing that kind of threw me off of like that made me feel like that is because background characters, they'll be walking by and like they have like little labels, and it's like, this is Jolly Rocket, and I'm like, why do I need to know that that person in the background is called Jolly Rocket? I'm like, there has to be a reason why she has a name. But yeah, I don't know why out of all the sports anime that I've watched over the last couple of seasons, this is the one that's stuck.
It's a good question.
But yeah, More horse girls, more racing, more hype. The next show I'm going to be talking about is Yakisoku no Neverland, or The Promised Neverland Season 2.
I'm a little surprised that you watched this one. You never finished. Did you finish the first season of it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, that's right. You know what? I do remember you watching that now. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. This one was a bit too disturbing. I'm a little. I guess I'm slightly curious as to, because from the way that you made it sound like, it sounded like it was pretty much said and done with at that point. So I'm a little curious as to what's happened at this point, or how we've continued things, I guess.
So basically, the way the world is starting to open up, and I'm starting to figure out, is those creatures are called demons. Yeah, the demons and the humans. At some point, the demons made a farm and put humans on the farm. There is a system for making more humans. I don't know how it works. They haven't shown the details of it, but some of the ladies who take part in that process, they become the quote unquote moms who are in charge of the different farms.
Mm-hmm.
These kids in this show basically escape the farm. And you would think, or at least what I thought, once you escape the farm, which is a huge feat, that you're out in the world and you're free. No.
I mean, the way that you described this to me from the first off, it really, like, I guess it really made me question the whole ideology as far as, like, is it even worth trying to escape this place? Because I'm like, my thought was, with everything that was going on, I'm like, what's even the point? What's waiting for you beyond those gates? Because obviously, if there's a farm and such, and this is what's going on, obviously, what's out there is probably potentially even worse.
Yeah, because you're out in the wild, and there's
Yeah.
no telling what's out there in the wild.
Yeah.
So basically, at a certain point, I could see one of these characters being like, I was better off at the farm. I had a happy yet fake life where I get to play and run around and have fun. And then one day I'll get selected and I'll be gone. But at least it was a fun life while it was a fun life.
No, and see that's kind of where it's like it's a shitty way of looking at it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, realistically, it's like this comes down to the whole: is it better to have the evil that you know or the evil you don't?
Exactly. And that's kind of like where this story is right now. There may be hope. I'm like starting to see small glimpses of it. And yeah, it's very, very intriguing. Like, I'm definitely gonna finish this season because I don't know. It's like they've given a bit more lore, and I'm like, oh, okay. Let's explore this then, because maybe there's hope. But,
I like how it's continually a question. Maybe.
Yeah, they leave a lot of stuff in mystery. It's like the more that they explain, it's kind of like one of those things where while you're watching the first season, they may show something or say something, and you're like, I don't know what that means. Moving on. And then you just continue to watch the show, and then after seeing all of it, and you go back, and you're like, oh, that was a clue.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I've been in situations like that before, where you watch something you think you're watching it very closely, but there's something behind the scenes that makes you look at it and go, I never thought about that.
yeah.
So no, I get that.
But yeah, it's just as entertaining as the first season. You're still left in mystery, even though one mystery gets solved, another one just shows back up, and you're like, oh, well, I don't know how to solve this either. So let's try to get there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like there's no like it's always a struggle. You don't have a super powerful character who's like he. It's I don't know. It's like the characters getting out of a situation is always by the skin of their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It always seems helpless, but somehow they eke their way to another day. And you have hope that it will happen. It just doesn't seem like it will happen at first look. So there's no predictability to this show.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out more. Alright. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Unicamp Season 2.
Yeah, how's this one going for you?
This show's so chill. So, one of the main reasons why I wanted to watch this show is because for the last 2 months I've had Survivor playing in the background, and
Cause that totally relates to that. Totally.
in that show they have minimal supplies and they have to live out in the wilderness. A lot of times it's like an island in Fiji, but if you don't have supplies to get you through, it's tough. These people are driving over to a lake and they have all the supplies they need. And the first episode is a flashback. It is the backstory to one of the characters.
Okay.
I,
I thought you were gonna say it was a flashback to the first season. I'm like, wait, are we gonna have to watch them just camping out again? Wow, that is so rough. Oh my god. Oh shit.
so, just like um, uh, Uma Musume, I couldn't figure out what character we were following. So there was this one younger character, and she was just chilling at her house, and her mom. Oh, they got a package from her grandfather, and on the package it was like camping supplies. I'm like, cool. And she opened it up, and it was a tent and like instructions on how to make it. So she went in her room and like built the tent and just kind of sat in the tent. Like, okay, cool. And put it back away. And then the next thing you know, her dad's like, "Hey, let's go to the lake or whatever it was." And the mom stayed home. Like, I don't know why it wasn't a family trip, but okay. So the mom stayed home, and then the dad drove out to the lake, and then they brought all the stuff to the shore. Not a beach, whatever the area is around the lake. I don't want to call it a shore because that doesn't sound right. But they brought it out to the camping grounds around the lake, and um, he was like, "Okay, so we got everything here." And he's like, "Do you know how to do the tent?" And she's like, "Yep." He's like, "I think I'm gonna try it. I got it." And he's like, "All right, you sure you got everything?" He's like, "Yep." He's like, okay, I'm gonna be in the lodge. And he walks up to the hotel, just go chill in the hotel. I'm like, wait a minute. First, I'm like, wait a minute, you gonna leave this girl out of this camping ground by herself? And then he's like, nah, I'm gonna be in the hotel back there. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh man, we're roughing it now.
So basically, he disappears from the story. Um, and then she's like, okay, cool. So she starts doing the tent again. And it's different than setting it up at her house because she has to drive stakes into the ground and to keep it from blowing away. And it was really easy for her to build it in her room. And then when she gets out to the ground, she starts hammering the stakes in, and she's like, "Oh my god, the ground's hard." So she's like, "I gotta try harder." And then she bends one of the stakes. So I'm like, "Ah!" And then she grabs something else and like breaks that. And I'm like, "Oh no!" And then she grabs it. So it's like, it's like mistake after mistake after mistake. And I'm like, this is terrible. But she gets it built up like she did before, and then she's kind of like looking around at like the families camping and stuff like that. And, like there's this whole family out there with like 2 young kids, and the kids are all, and the parents are like, they're cute, and just kind of sitting and chilling. And then her stomach starts growling. So then she gets this curry set, and she grabs her pot, puts it on. She was starting to get hungry, so she wanted to make a fire. So she started. She went and grabbed a whole bunch of firewood and like made it in this giant teepee shape kind of thing. And then she lights a match and tries to set this thick ass wood on fire, and then like the matches keep going out. One of the camp people who like goes around, he notices and he's like, "Oh, let me teach you and the audience on how to make a fire." So he's like, "Well, this wood's too thick." So he like pulls out his like hatchet thing and like splits it, like you see in all the anime when people are chopping firewood. They take the logs and split them. So I'm like, "Oh, I get it." So so then he's like, "We need to get some smaller twigs." So he goes gets all the supply, and he's like, "Also, you need some acorns." Me, I'm like, "Oh, that's like in Survivor when they have to make the fire. They have coconut husk, because you use the flint and steel to make that catch fire first to get a flame, and then you add the sticks." So I'm like, as I'm like yelling about Survivor, he's like explaining that for camping in the woods, and he's like, "First you set this on fire, then you put smaller sticks." I'm like, yeah, I know all of that. So I'm like, this is cool. So she gets the fire working, and he also builds like a rock wall so the wind doesn't keep blowing her fire out. And I'm like, smart. So she starts getting boiling some water, and then first she puts the rice directly in the pan, and then pours water and puts it on the thing. And me, I'm like, aren't you supposed to boil the water first and then put the rice in? Right?
You would if you were trying to make sure that it didn't actually stick to the bottom of the pan. If you don't have any sort of solution that would keep it from actually doing so, by putting water in, you can't guarantee that bits of water are going to go below where you have the last bits of rice. So when it starts boiling, it's heating the rice first before it's heating the water.
And she burned all her rice.
That would be why. See, I already know this whole freaking anime. I haven't even watched it. I already know what the hell's gonna fucking happen.
So I was like, wait a minute, she's doing it wrong. I'm like, it's gonna be crunchy, and she's like, this sucks. And I was like, you could have just kept boiling it, right? And I'm like having flashbacks for Survivor. I'm like, didn't they just keep cooking it? And I'm like, okay. So then she's like, well, I guess I could have just some curry soup then, because I have this packet of curry that you're supposed to put on top of the rice, and the rice is ruined. So then she's kind of like, I guess. And then she goes to get something else to make the rice, or her phone rings, and it's her mom. And her mom's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And she's like, I'm doing okay. I got the thing up." And she's like, "Did you eat?" And she's like, "Yeah, kinda." And she's like, She's like, well, if you get hungry, I'll put some emergency food in your backpack. And then she like goes in her backpack, and it's a cup of like instant ramen. So, so that she like prepares the ramen. There's a little countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then she eats. And then it's like next episode. And I'm like, ah, that was cool.
God, I was so pissed off watching the entire time. I was like, no! What are you doing? Wrong.
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I will most likely not continue this show, even though I really like it.
Oh jeez.
Because I have like weird experience that I've seen other people do, and when I watch the show, I'll be like, "Oh, I know what they're gonna do next," or they're gonna surprise me, and I'll learn even more.
Oh goodness gracious.
Yeah, that is our 14 shows for this season that we have started. There's 2 more that I wanted to do, but Funimation's app is being dumb.
Because it's Funimation.
But yeah. So I guess the next episode is upcoming for next season.
Already?
No. And
we will be 28th?
Yep, we'll be back on.
Do they even have anything out? Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yep. Alright, what do we got for next?
Oh well, let's see Boku no Hero.
Oh yeah.
There's a dragon one I might be interested in.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, dragon. Fruits Basket.
With the new season to it?
Oh, what? Yeah, there's.
Oh yeah. Oh, and there's the one I wanted to watch from before. I think they delayed it. The Fumitsu no Anata.
Okay.
I had wanted to watch that one. I think that was supposed to come out last year, but oh god. Isekai Mao Shokon Shoujo no Dore Majutsu. I watched the first season of that one. I don't know why I did, but I watched the first season.
Oh, the demon one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they made an anime off of those bloody grizzly bears?
Wait, what?
Itazuna Gumi? Guma? No,
Oh
Gumi?
god, I just went right by that one.
Yeah, I've seen those bears at dealer rooms in anime conventions back when those were. Mars Red. Wait, is that a headless person? Oh no, he's sitting down. Okay. Inumakun season 2. I don't know who that girl is. The guy? Girl? Guy.
Well, either way, seems like there's going to be a bunch of new series, honestly.
Megalobox! Oh, man! Oh, God. Yes. I'm so excited for that one. Okay.
There's an old series being brought back, Shaman King.
I've heard that name.
That's an old series.
Oh, wow. I wonder if they're giving it like that other show that was from like the 80s that they redid. Or...
Maybe. honestly, after that, I'm really not seeing a whole lot of things I recognize readily. Not a whole lot of sequels. Seems like it's a lot of new stuff, but we'll see.
Tokyo Revengeance. That looks crazy.
Either way.
What is Vivi? Zombieland Saga. Zombieland Saga. Is that the one with the zombie singer girls?
I don't think so.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
I gotta watch that. Okay, I am officially excited for next season.
I am slightly less so. Yes.
Where's Tanya?
What? They're supposed to come out with another season for Tanya?
Yeah, they never end. It just cut off.
There's a lot they haven't ever. If that's what you're going by, there's a lot they've never ended and just cut off. What are you talking about?
So what? I think I brought this up before. One thing I wanted to do, like at the end of every year, is like we do a special episode for the TBA window, where it's like I'm gonna click. I haven't been on this page in so long.
I know I probably shouldn't, but I took a little peek over at the summer and.
No, it's too early.
I see Dragon Maid on there.
Oh.
That's really the only other big one I can kind of see. So.
Like on the TBA page, like this thing's been here probably since we started the show.
Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah, like it's been on there for years. UFO Tables didn't do it other stuff instead of this one. Goblin Slayer 2 TBA. Like, yeah, I'd like to do like a TBA for each year. To be like, nope, didn't get made this year, but it's still on the list.
Yeah, we could do that. Oh god. That should never be made. Jashin-chan Dropkick X.
Oh no. Wait, didn't they do another Dropkick?
Apparently not this one. This is the 3rd season.
Yeah, no.
Interesting to see. I recognize some names on here for sure.
Yeah. Because some of these, when we click on the studio, some of these TBAs actually show on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a new thing that they've added to the site. I think these TBAs used to just be out in the ether, just floating around, and now they're actually tied to the studios, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, anyways.
All right. Yeah. So that is it for today's show. We'll be back on February 28th for trailers and synopses for the spring season of 2021. Alright. As always, this is DK and Shade from TacoYaki Anime. And thank y'all for watching. Thanks for hanging out in chat. Thanks for supporting the channel in any way that you do. Thanks for hanging through the crash and coming back. And we will see y'all next time.